here with.
So I'm Riyan Buragohain and I'm from India and I'm currently interning at the Peace Museum, Vienna.
And what does peace mean to you?
So when I personally look at the idea of peace, first of all, I think it's a sense of hope that you feel, when you get dejected in certain situations or crisis. And then you always have this hope that, this too shall pass and then everything is only temporary in nature. So, of course, that hope gives you a sense of peace. And then at the same time, I think it's also about sharing love and affection with your close ones, because always when you spend quality time with people who are really dear and close to you, you feel a sense of peace in your mind. There's mental peace. So I would say that at the end of the day, peace is about hope, it's about love, and it's about affection.
And how have your personal experiences so far altered or made your idea of peace stronger?
So when I was in my eighth standard, I had started off doing debates and this model UN simulations, which were quite popular at that time. And then the discussions in those competitions would always be around wars. It would always be about conflicts, and then we had to brainstorm solutions to basically end those wars and bring peace. So at that time, I just thought that peace was about the absence of war or conflict. But over a period of time. Personally, when I started volunteering in NGOs and teaching underprivileged children, at that time I realized that there is actually a lot of satisfaction in imparting knowledge, in sharing knowledge and education with people. And in that sense, I believe that the idea of peace is something which is very much connected to education and sharing of knowledge, not just in terms of the educational curriculum, but also life experiences for that matter. So I think the idea of peace being connected to education and knowledge is something which altered my idea of how I looked at peace.
And now, do you have any practices or habits that you do to promote peace that you would recommend for other people?
Yeah, so I think I've always studied in multicultural environments right after high school, during my undergrad, and now also during my master's for that matter. So when you interact with people in multicultural environments, and then there is also this sense of cultural exchange where you tell them things about your culture they don't know, and you learn from them things about their culture that you didn't know. And always, when you have these conversations about cultural exchange, you realize that actually the world is more similar than it is different. So that helps build a sense of community and foster a sense of unity as such among the diversity that we have. So I think cultural exchanges and talks like these do help to promote peace, because a sense of unifyingness, or a sense of common beliefs and shared beliefs always leads to this idea of peace.
And what would you say is then the biggest barrier to global peace today?
I think in the 21st century, when I look at it, the biggest barrier to global peace is gender inequality, I would say. And peace is something which cannot be separated, in my view, from gender. It's very much linked, and particularly because I have researched during my undergrad, and right now also my thesis precisely focuses on this idea of women, peace, and security initiatives, which were at the forefront launched by the United Nations. And this is also the idea that countries where there is higher levels of gender equality, they are more likely to resolve, conflicts through peace and stability, compared to those where there is huge inequality as such. And these kind of data and statistics is often given by a lot of international organizations from time and again, especially like the Council on Foreign Relations for that matter. So that's why I think the biggest barrier is gender inequality.
And how would we overcome that barrier?
Yeah, so I think the only way, like one of the ways I would say, but also the most important way to resolve this at a macro level would be through a feminist foreign policy, which countries have should adopt in their framework. That is basically incorporating the promotion and funding of gender equality as a part and parcel of their agenda when they deal with their conduct of international relations. And at the same time, at the micro level, when we look at it, there is definitely a need for grassroots level education. The curriculum needs to be revamped to include mandatory courses on gender sensitization right from schools across the world. And of course, this can depend on based on cultural and local context how that gender sensitization needs to be imparted. Because I believe only when we have these measures for promoting gender equality, we will have peace. Yeah.
And lastly, how do you imagine peace?
So I think I imagine peace, or we know I picturize peace as a world where, of course, everybody has the right and the conditions as well to live with full dignity, respect for fellow human beings. And as we often call it in India's foreign policy terms, we call it Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family. So I tend to look at it in that sense, a family where there's a lot of love, respect, and dignity for everyone, for fellow individuals, and it is there where actually peace lies at the end of the day. So if we can make the world a family, yeah.
Thank you so much.